Okay, so today's... Oh, sorry, I was just doing a little intro while I was waiting then.
Oh
But
yeah, go ahead, keep going.
no, I didn't even start. I was like, so today, and then you popped
Oh,
in.
sorry. I just texted you because in the end it worked. I was just being dumb. But you good?
Yeah, all good, all good. I decided to sit outside today, try to get a bit of fresh air. So
Nice.
yeah. So a little intro on what we're going to talk about today basically is now guys, don't click off just yet. Show us your hash browns. Is this your friend?
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, don't click off. But we're going to talk about and go into detail on the menstrual cycle in women and how it can affect your training and diet, and why do you need to know this if you're a guy? Well, if you're a trainer and you're not taking this into consideration, it could be hindering your clients' abilities to meet their goals and targets. So it's something that every trainer should know, and it's something that throughout the course of becoming a personal trainer, whatever qualifications, whatever exams or studying you go through to do that, it's actually not included in any of it, is it? So,
No.
well, it wasn't included in any of mine. Something that,
No.
that should be.
It's a taboo topic, really. And
Subjects, yeah.
it should be. So we're here to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, if you do have any questions throughout, as always, just pop them in the comments and we will ask them. We will answer them. So yeah. Oh my god, I'm gonna put a filter on as well because yours looks nice with a filter.
I think I can't not put a filter on.
Oh my god, that's too much. Wow. There we go. Wow. Okay, so
do you have an order?
where should we start? Well, I didn't really write an order. I wrote a few notes, and I know that you kind of had an order, but sorry, I didn't really reply to your WhatsApp. But was like, yeah, whatever. So I wanted to touch base on explaining a little bit how the cycle works and how the cycle works and the phases of it, and then we can kind of go on from there. So yeah, basically there's 4 parts that you should take into consideration. Now, part 1 is menstruation. So this is when you are on your period, and this starts when day 1 of the bleeding starts. Your face, you was like, what am I gonna say? And then, so yeah, I'll go through this quickly and we'll reverse back and we'll go into each phase a little bit more in detail. Phase 2 is the follicular phase, which is ideally the best part of your period. So let's just say everyone's cycle is the same, but it's not. Obviously, everyone's is individual. But say the average cycle lasts 28 days. So say, for this purpose of the video, everyone's cycle is 28 days, okay? So that would mean day 1.
Everybody starts bleeding on day 1.
Exactly. So everyone starts day 1, and this is after you stop bleeding. Okay, so this will last about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, or half of the cycle. Then you have the third part, which is ovulation, which is where the eggs drop from the ovary. This is where we're most fertile. This is where we hit a peak in our testosterone as well, so we can hit some PBs. You might be feeling really horny at this point. You know, these kind of things. We'll go back to all that, and then so 1, 2, 3. Have I said 3? So yeah, 4. Is the luteal. Yeah, that's how you say it. I'm really bad at pronouncing things. Luteal phase, which is the worst part for a woman, basically. Usually, this is where you experience PMS symptoms, and you can have a really hard time dieting. You can have a really hard time with your fitness goals as well. Like, a lot of women have a big, or can suffer a decrease in what they can lift of up to about 40 to 60% during this phase. Now, obviously, everyone is different. A lot of people don't suffer with PMS the same way as other women do. Some people don't really get symptoms, others get really bad symptoms. So like I said, everyone's is individual to themselves. So that's kind of a breakdown of the 4 parts of the cycle. Yeah, so I think we'll go back to what's best in certain parts. Yeah.
Do talk about the follicular or the luteal phase.
Luteal phase, yeah.
Alright.
Exactly. So,
a general question. Were you going to say something?
No. Wasn't going to say something. Yeah, and I was about to say, I know that you had a couple of questions that you sent on the WhatsApp when you're saying that. So,
I think there are some questions that are asked quite a lot. Just surrounding women's periods and training, and one that's quite popular is, should I train when I'm on my period? And I know that quite a lot of people don't as well. So in a nutshell, yes, carry on if you can. Carry on training while you're on your period, because your physical
I
and
want
your
to
mental, sorry?
sorry, go on.
I was going to say, your physical and your mental benefits don't stop. You don't stop growing muscle because you're on your period. You don't stop feeling better. Endorphins don't stop releasing when you're on your period. So it's really important that Jenna says, hi, honey, message me when you're done. Of course I will do. Yeah, so there's still lots and lots of benefits that come from training when you're on your period. You will still grow muscle. Like we mentioned briefly, you do have a spike in testosterone, so you can hit some of your best training sessions. Okay, well, that's not on your period.
That's at the mid phase.
But then also I do get that quite a lot of people experience cramps and pains. Then your endorphins are a natural painkiller anyway, so the that you release when you're training will make you feel better in the long run anyway. Also, when you're training, this is something that we all know quite simpler. There's a higher, your rate of circulation's increased, which will help with headaches. It'll help with cramps, with back pain. So in a nutshell, yes, do carry on training whilst you're on your period. You agree?
Now, I want to add, I do totally agree with that, but I just want to add something to it. So usually, so we spoke about PMS and stuff like that. So that is in the latter part of the cycle we spoke about. So in the luteal phase. So usually your PMS symptoms come before your period, so just before it. So I know everyone's different. Me personally, it's a whole week before my period that I suffer really bad, and day one that I start. So within that space of the week, for me personally, I may take one extra day off from training, or I may change the way I train a little bit just because I'm in discomfort. But usually then once you start your period, you'll notice bloating goes down, cravings start to go back down, your appetite's decreased a little bit, it usually increases just before it. So whilst you're on your period, I mean, apart from the whole fact of being on your period, and that's not always comfortable, that's probably not the hardest time out of your whole cycle that you will find to train.
Happened just before.
Yeah, exactly. So the week before, and sometimes 2 weeks before.
Hormone imbalances, or be really moody, or just have really bad times in the gym, sessions go bad, and then the next few days they'll come on and you'll be like, oh, that kind of explains
that's why. And I really suggest as well, if you are a woman, so we did speak about how if you're a trainer that you should speak to your clients about their menstrual cycle and track it along with their goals. But if you are a woman as well, download an app and track it yourself and start to pick up the patterns that you have with your own cycle. So I've noticed a lot of patterns within my own one since having the app. You actually have it in your health app if you have an iPhone, or you can download an app called Flow. And I find it really helps me just know where I'm at. And when I see things that aren't happening, so like, for example, if I notice I can't lift as heavy, or I'm really, really struggling on my diet of eating well, when I look at where I am on my cycle, it usually explains it a lot. So it's good for you to be on top of that. Sorry.
I think I was going to just say, in terms of training, while we stick on training, your first sort of 2 phase, let's say up until day, let's go 16 to 18, just before you go into that luteal phase, okay? So just before you start PMSing and starting to get a dip.
So midway.
Yeah, around about up the first 2 weeks, really. You want to be keeping your resistance training high, okay? So we'll go into the diet a little bit, but that's where you're going to feel the best in the gym. That's where you're going to hit your PBs. That's where you're going to be the strongest. So go for resistance training in those first 2. If you're a trainer as well and you've got a new client, don't be afraid to ask them whereabouts they are on their menstrual cycle. Most girls don't find it embarrassing because it's something that we've lived with our whole life.
Exactly.
So, get familiar with
and you'll probably find a better relationship if you have a girl client, if you are taking these into consideration, because I'll tell you, like, most trainers won't have done this with them before. So And
So
to add to what Kyla was saying about training, yeah, so in those first 2 weeks, you may find yourself getting stronger. And as you hit ovulation midpoint, which is when we peak in testosterone,
yeah,
that's probably where you'll hit your PBs. So it's a good time to be like lifting the heavy weights. And then if you find yourself kind of going on a downer the last 2 weeks, this can be a time to take to do less complicated exercises, because you might find your coordination goes down, your strength, whatnot. So so balance, for example, if you've been training split squats and you really just can't get your balance, maybe go to some machine work where you don't have to coordinate so much.
Exactly.
And
up your reps as well. Work a little bit more on metabolic conditioning, take your resistance training down, because not only it's not going to do you any bad, but if you are used to lifting, I don't know, 60 kilograms in a front squat, and then suddenly you're in this phase and your weight's
and you're lifting 35, 40,
it's going to make you feel shit up here, because I know it does. And so listen, don't worry about it. If your balance is off and you're not feeling it, like Becky said, jump on a machine, go for a leg press. It's working the same muscles. You're going to get the same benefits without the risk of injury and feeling like crap if it doesn't go to plan.
Yeah, because that's another thing as well. In the last part of the cycle, in the luteal phase, you're in your highest percent of the highest chance of getting injured, the highest chance of dislocation. So so yeah, don't be hard on yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, as a guy, if you're a guy, I'm not being what's the word? Yeah, that's the one. You should consider yourself lucky if you're competing in any sport or anything like that, and you have a set date that you don't have to worry about where you are in your cycle on that day, and whether you'll be performing at you're not at your best. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. So, hormones stay the same much.
You have one physiology the whole time.
Exactly. So we'll just go over hormones a little bit. Estrogen and progesterone are the two sex hormones that are predominantly dominant in the female body. So in your first, because then we'll go on to diet a little bit as well. We can always jump in with some more training. And also, if anybody's watching, you've got any questions, just ask. So yeah, in your follicular phase, which are the first 2 weeks, like Becky said, this is usually the best time just for life in general. This is where you're feeling your best. Obviously, like midpoint,
you're probably the happiest,
most confident, sexy, all of that. And that's when estrogen is present. And estrogen's a great hormone. We love it. We like it when it's high. However, in your, let's say, the third and fourth phase, so the second 2 weeks of your cycle, that's when your estrogen drops and your progesterone rises. Now, this is the hormone that's linked with gremlin. Gremlin, that's just the hormone that makes you hungry as well. So there's a chance that in those second weeks, if you're feeling a little bit sluggish, I mean, overall, especially when you come on your period, your estrogen and your progesterone are lower anyway. So there's a fact that you're going to feel sluggish when you're PMSing, sorry, not when you're on your period, just before. But in that luteal phase, your progesterone is higher. So if you're craving bad foods, that is normal. I know we all do. There's that. I was going to say it's a myth. It's definitely not a myth with ice cream just before your period.
And this is to do with as well. Sorry, I'll let you carry on. But there's research. Oh, sorry, my table's wobbling. There's research to say that that your metabolism spikes, increases in that luteal phase. So you could have an increase in your metabolism of 100 to 300 calories. So
and your client is suffering and they've got cramps and they're hungry, give them that extra few calories.
Exactly.
Don't cut them off, because the last thing you want is to be emotional, hungry, and in an incredibly low deficit.
And it can actually do worse, because a lot of the time you can be ravenous in this period. So you're really, really hungry, and if you're on a diet plan, for example, that's not taking this into consideration, you can be craving and craving and craving, and you've put it off, and all of a sudden you binge. And then instead of just eating those extra 200 calories that would have suppressed that craving, you've now binged and you've gone into a surplus. So if you are finding it really hard to diet, and we will come back to the diet part of this in the last part of your cycle, so the luteal phase, then it might be a good idea to stick to maintenance calories so that you're not putting on any weight in that time, and then you can diet in the first 2 weeks or whenever you feel good, maybe first 3 weeks, or you can just allow them extra calories into your diet as your metabolism spikes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. In that fourth phase, let's say, you do have insulin spike. So those extra cravings, obviously don't go overboard, but give yourself a little bit of
like
lenience. I mean, the best thing to do is, obviously, when you're dieting, if let's say you're going to diet and be quite strict for the first 2 weeks, still have quite a high level of carbohydrates in the first 2 weeks. So that's where you're least resistant to insulin, and when you're better off having your carbohydrates in the first 2 weeks. And then in the second 2 weeks, when your hormones have flipped around, just go for more protein and more fats in your second phase. And you'll pretty much out like so as well. Like better off to go for your deficit in your first 2 weeks and then try and have maintenance in the second. Because if you're in a deficit in those second 2 weeks when cravings are high, especially if you've just started with this trainer as well, you're going to think, fucking hell, this guy is, or this girl, sorry.
Exactly, and this gives me a point that I would want to come back to, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say you've
Which is
when to start
where to start your diet, exactly. Yeah. So if you are someone that really struggles in the luteal phase of your cycle, then it might not be the best idea to start. Yeah, so the 2 weeks before you are due on, when you're experiencing PMS or anything like that, it might be best to wait until you come on your period or the first day after you finish your period to start your diet, because first of all you'll be stronger, so you'll be feeling more confident when you are in the gym and lifting. You will be you'll have less cravings, so basically you're starting at the right time. If you start in the last bit when your cravings are at the highest, then you could be fighting a losing battle, and this could really put a downer on the rest of it and might put you off the whole process. So
that's why it's so important to log your cycle, because in that last phase is where we feel most depressed and we feel most down about ourselves, and when we're usually wanting to start a diet. So if there are trainers watching this or watching it back afterwards when we post it, ask your clients whereabouts they are in their cycle. Don't be afraid to push back their diet. I mean, loads of people are thinking, okay, money, got to get this client in. But then let's say you start them on their last bit, they've got a horrendous week, and then they don't carry it on anyway because they think it was way too hard, it took me on way too little calories.
Exactly, and it should be about the long run as well.
This and this is the reason why I'm not going to put you on a diet. We're going to wait till next Monday, and I'm pretty sure she will respect you so much more.
I'm sure they'd have more respect for you than just starting straight away, grabbing their money, and then not taking that into consideration, because like we said anyway, these kind of processes, fat loss or whatever your goal isn't going to just happen overnight. So it's a process that will be going on for at least a few months. So pushing it back a week or 2 weeks until they start their new cycle is really a small fraction of the time over the whole journey and process of this. So
if you're having new clients as well, you want to look at every client as a long-term client. Even if they're telling you that they just want to train for 2 weeks because they've got a holiday, you want to see them as a full year cycle, and you want them to keep coming back, and you want them to enjoy your sessions and enjoy your meal plans. So definitely take it into consideration.
Yeah, I agree. So going on to the topic of dieting, and we're kind of on that, but going into it a little bit more in depth. I wanted to just touch base a little bit on amenorrhea as well. So basically, it's something that basically you guys are amazing, you know that. Thank you. So what it is an absence of your period for 90 days or more. Obviously, for someone that is, so usually from when you start your period to end your period, so between the ages of 20, I wish, 12 and 50. Obviously after that, then, you know, if you go for menopause, you don't have your period, so whatever. Anyway, going off topic a bit, but what I was saying is this can be caused as well by excessive exercise and too much of a calorie deficit. So basically, as a woman, you need about 50,000 calories to survive pregnancy. So if you're in too much of a deficit, you are exercising too much, which is also putting you in that deficit or whatever, then this can stop your period, because your body's saying to you, well, you're not on enough calories to survive pregnancy. So if you are dieting really hard and you've lost, or you're exercising too much and you've lost your period, take as a hint that you need to slow down and look at your nutrition and your diet plan, because you are hindering the ability to bring a child into the world. You know what I mean? And
that's
actually,
what
this is
here for.
Yeah, this is what well, it's not our purpose, but it's, you know, in evolutionary terms, or whatever you call it, that is our purpose, and that is why our bodies are different to men. But me personally, I've actually suffered with this from when I went to dance college. I lost my period for, it was at least 2 years. So I was 18 when I started there, and I didn't get a period until I was gone 20. So I went to the doctors, they did checks, everything, no, you're fine. And no one ever told me once that it was amenorrhea, and that it was because I was excessively exercising and probably not eating enough, because we was exercising in dance college with all the classes at least 5 to 6 Manuel's beauty is lost in podcasting long. Okay, that's not very nice. See you later. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so basically we was like exercising 5 to 6 hours a day, definitely, and being told that we need to eat very little calories, like restrictive eating, low carbs. And me being young and naive and not knowing everything that I did now, that's what I did. And as a consequence of it, I didn't have a period for 2 years, and I wasn't told by any doctor why that happened. They didn't even care to ask me about that.
Yeah, no, that's mad, especially now because you know what it was.
Yeah.
Well. So also, if anybody's watching and they're going through that, a little look at your diet and a little look at your training, because that could well be it. And this just links into females in general. Obviously, our bodies are made to procreate, even if we don't want children. Evolution, like Becky said, that's what our bodies are for. Women naturally hold more body fat. Men naturally have more muscle due to their higher testosterone levels, so they burn calories quicker as well. If you have a male and a female and they were both eating exactly the same, there's going to be different results, okay? Because a guy is obviously going to burn more calories than a girl. If you're in the training session and you've got the exact same training plan, you're training with your partner.
Exactly, yeah.
Don't, because like we've just said, girls are not just smaller versions of men. And also, you're not going to be burning the same amount of calories. If you and your fella are going to the gym for an hour, you would, in theory, have to stay for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, an hour and half an hour longer, sorry.
The book to burn the same amount of calories. So the main point of this whole thing is that girls, not to be misogynist, but girls and guys aren't the same. And that's just clear.
Oops, sorry. Oh, I don't know. Maria says, buen directo, chicas. Me está sirviendo bastante. Gracias. Sorry, I was listening to everything you said. I just opened our WhatsApp chat to see if there was another topic that you sent to me that we've not talked about yet. I can't find it. Why do we talk so much?
I know. But
how the cycle works? Should you train on your period? What type of trainer is best? Which type of training is best and when, etc. So we have kind of touched base a little bit on that. Do you guys have any questions in relation to what we've been talking about? I'm just going to see my notes to see if there's anything that we missed.
We'll stay on live for another few minutes. See. But yeah, I would just recommend that you guys.
Measuring. Okay, so this is what I was going to say. Yeah. So I'll ask you. You can tell me your opinion. Do you think that women should measure themselves differently depending on what? No, okay, let me try rephrase this question. So basically,
my brain was trying so hard.
let me try get this. So okay, so I'm a personal trainer. No, let's just say, for instance, not I am, and I've not taken into consideration my client's menstrual cycle. So I start everyone on the same plan on day one of the plan, and I want them to measure their weight loss every 2 weeks. Do you think that's good, or do you think it's better that as a woman they should measure their cycle week 1 of their cycle to week 1 of their second cycle, and week 3, for example, to week 3 of their second cycle.
Yeah, definitely. There needs to be, because that's the thing with these challenges and these programs. There's usually a weigh-in day. I'm pretty sure on Slimming World and stuff, they say have a day where you weigh yourself or measure yourself, and then after however many days it is, if it's a 20-day challenge, a 30-day challenge, a 6-week challenge, then you'll measure yourself and weigh yourself again. Not bearing in mind what stage of your cycle you're on, water retention and everything. So yeah,
exactly.
on day 1. And do you know what, like you said, it's good if you want to measure in on day 1 of your first cycle and then day 1 next, but then also in between as well, just to see
the fluctuation.
Exactly.
Because there's a massive
that in general, or on average, I weigh 3 kilos more in week 3. So if one day you're feeling a bit more bloated, have a little look at your cycle and it will all make sense.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because there can be a massive difference in circumference and your weight depending on where you are in your cycle. Like I am just about to go into, I'm 1 week off, so I know me personally, I'm about to enter PMS. So if I'm going to be really moody the next week, sorry, I'm going to be moaning to Kyla, snapping at people. No, I'm joking. But I've noticed my cravings go up, like really, really notice. Me and Kyla are currently on like a kind of an eating plan and a training program, and I just do not feel my best. Like this week I've been like, I just feel bloated. I feel like I've just put all the weight back on from the start, and I'm doing everything the same, but I just don't see the results.
You had no idea about your cycle?
Well, I checked, because every day feels the same here, so I don't even know what month we're in. So I thought, I'll have a look on my phone, see where I am, and I was like, 10 days till I'm due to start, so that just makes total sense. So ladies, like, don't be disheartened if you're following a program and like you see you think you're seeing these results, and then all of a sudden you're just like, I just feel shit. Like, why is this? Take a look at where you are in your cycle, and it's probably going to be something to do with that. So what else? I made notes, so
that's fine.
But but obviously as well, like we said at the start, everyone is different. Every woman's gonna experience a different physiology, is it, with their own menstrual cycle. So the best thing to do is study your own instead of like looking on the internet of whatever. Best way to do that, like I said, they actually ask you to note down all your symptoms and stuff, which is really cool because then they tell you like facts about it, so I like it. I think I've covered everything that I
was just going to say, if you take anything from this, just track your period. If you have a trainer, or if you are a trainer, get them to track it as well.
If you have a trainer and they're not really taking it into consideration, find a new trainer.
The Bootkamp, we will take it into consideration, girls. Pretty much. You'll have a little spike in the middle, around about day 14. Your testosterone will be high. You'll be feeling sexy. You'll be feeling confident. Go for your PB. Do you know what? Mark it in as well. And that's, you'll look forward to it.
Exactly.
Don't worry about the second 2 weeks of your cycle. If you're craving stuff,
even if you have to stick it at maintenance, like we said, whether that be maintenance with your training, maintenance with your, well, not exactly maintenance for training, but you have to strip it back a little bit. That's fine. If you have to increase your calories back to maintenance, also fine. It's better than being like this the whole way through than, I mean, and not sticking to it, right?
First 2 weeks, just
exactly
as something to drive towards. You can have a higher intake of carbohydrates. You'll feel better. You'll feel stronger. Get some resistance training in, and then the second half you can just lay back a little bit.
And also, if you've noticed that your appetite decreases in those first 2 weeks, and say you do have a calorie target and you're not feeling very hungry and you come under that calorie target, there's no, like, as long as it's not massively under, there's no real harm in that. Do you know what I mean? So you might as well take advantage of it a little bit, eat less when you're not feeling hungry, and then in them last 2 weeks when you are feeling hungry, you can make up for it. And like we said in our last lives, like, your fat loss progress doesn't depend on one day. It's a summary of your whole, week, your month, whatever. It's, it's a journey, isn't it? So yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so
I did that.
yeah,
Don't think
I did.
many
It was
people in the
nice
fitness
to
industry
speak
that are
about
actually
it.
talking about that either. So if you guys do
Exactly.
have questions, or if you've just jumped in halfway through, we went quite in depth in the beginning with the cycle and what to expect pretty much on each phase and each day. So go watch it back if you
Yeah,
want.
listen back. I'll save it to my story, and you can watch it back there.
Exactly.
Okay, so anything else you want to
Oh,
say? All right then. So
all right. See you later.
see you later.